Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dan. Today I'm going to show how to take the table saw blade off and add a dado blade set. I'm going to use a stacked dado blade set, and I'm going to show some safety features. So the number one thing you got to do is make sure you unplug your saw before you start doing this. Or if you can't do that, if you can shut off a breaker, however you can take the power off the saw. And then I'm going to remove the throat plate. And then I'm going to, I actually put a piece of wood in here. I'm going to get the wrench and I'm going to loosen the blade, and I'm going to take the nut off. Now be aware that the nut is opposite threads as normal, so loosening this, I'm turning it counterclockwise. And I actually have a blade stabilizer on here first. So I'm going to take the blade off and show the blade stabilizer. It's a big washer that goes on before the blade. Take the blade off. And then the dado blade set that I'm using is a stacked dado blade. It's one I've had for a while. It's a systematic. And what I like about this dado blade set is it had 42 teeth on the outside cutters, and the chippers had 6 teeth. They've also made it so that there's a space in here on the blade for the chipper to fit in between when you're putting that on there. So what I'll do is I'll put that on there and I'll alternate the blades so the teeth aren't touching each other, so that I'll tighten that and actually chip a blade or get a wider cut. So the first blade's 1/8 of an inch thick. The next blade I'm going to put on is a 1/16, because I'm shooting for like 11/16, maybe a hair bigger for the thickness of plywood. Then the next chipper blade, I'm just going to stagger or alternate those teeth so they're not touching each other. And I'm going to keep stacking these up. Now remember, these blades are 1/8 inch thick, each one, but I have one that I'm putting on that's 1/16 of an inch thick, so that I can get that little smaller size for the thickness of the plywood. So as I stack these on here, I'll end up with 11/16 worth of blades, but I need the cut to be a little bit bigger than that, so I'm going to use this, it's a shim, kind of a washer, but what I like about this is it's magnetic, so when I put it on the blade, it actually sticks on there. I've had some brass shims before. When I'm tightening them, they get down in the threads on the arbor and make it a little bit harder to tighten. So this one actually will just stick to the blade. So I'm going to put that on as a spacer. This is 0.015 thick, 0.015 in thickness, and these come in sets. You can buy them. So I'm going to put that on there, and that's just to shim this out just a hair to get a little bit wider than 11/16, so 3/4 inch plywood will fit in there. As I put the outside blade on, I did pay attention to the blades. The first one, the blade tilts out. The last one tilts out the other way. That's important. There's not room for a washer on here with all the blades on there. And remember, the threads are reversed, so when I tighten it, I'm going to turn it clockwise. And then I'm going to take this piece of wood again, put some pressure on the blade, and I'm going to snug this up. I don't have to go crazy with it, but I don't want it coming loose when I'm using it, so I'm going to snug that up. That's good. And I can't use the same throat plate that I used previous for a single blade, so you can buy, in some cases you can make them, but this one will accept a dado blade. So when I'm cutting rabbet joints, I don't like to slide this all the way up and have the blade rub on the fence, so I put an auxiliary fence in here. This is just a piece of melamine, and you can buy these clamps. You could do this with the Rockler clamps. You could even do this with the micro jig dovetail clamps. You can make a jig to do this, but this really helps because I'm not going to damage my existing fence. I put these sacrificial fences on here, and then I can cut dados and rabbits, and being I have almost 3/4 of the blade on there, if I need to cut a 1/2 inch rabbit, I could actually slide this over the blade till I have that 1/2 inch and cut a rabbit there. So I hope that makes sense. Something different we're trying to show, and just how to change the dado blade, the saw blade, to a dado blade with a stacked dado blade set. Thanks for watching. If you like, please subscribe and get notifications when we have new videos coming out. Thank you.